2, 1, yo. What's going on, Arkansas Razorback fans, SEC fans everywhere? Welcome to the one and only Pig Trail Network YouTube channel. Hope you're doing well, fellas, ladies and gentlemen in the chat. Thank you for joining me. Remember to like the stream. Hit the like button. Check out all the links provided for you down below. I don't know what's going on with this camera, man. Every week, it's like, I think my kids are messing with my camera. Whoa, hey there. Hey, there's the mop top. Can we just get the camera? My SEC logo back there, it's just hanging out. It's like, yeah. Share the content. That is so important. I'm seeing more of that, and some of you are finally tagging me in when you share the content, and I do appreciate the hell out of that. Let me tell you, but that's really important. It's really important. Yeah, share, copy and paste. Oh yeah, someone alert Discord. Wake them up. Tell them, hey, Ty's live. Yeah, so lot to discuss. So much happened today. How about Jalen Catalon? We'll get to that in a minute. And old Sam Pittman's got the coof. He's got the coof. Got the black lung pop. You ever seen that movie? Name the movie. It's a good one. Ben Stiller. Ooh, I just gave it away. Yeah, look, it's serious. Wear your mask, all that stuff. Okay, I've had people like, why do you call it the coof? Because I don't know, because it's funny. We got to make light of serious times. How you guys doing in chat? Let me get caught up here. Robert Ainsworth, my man. How you doing, Robert? Mr. Cobra. Yo, what's up, man? How we doing, chat? He says, what up, Mr. T-Dub? How's it going? Robert, good to hear you're doing well. Ty, what's up, brother? Woo Pig Suey. Fishman, COVID-19. Oh, okay. All right, not going to read that. That's ridiculousness. Fish. Anthony White, any recruiting news? Actually, no. None. Like I said last week, I have not really been keeping up with recruiting a whole lot because there's not a whole lot going on. They had a couple of kids that you only got room for 2-3 more guys, more youngins in this class. I have the runner right now. Can't smell or taste anything. So there's that, says Michael Harris. Yeah, I've known people who have personally had it, and some of them it was a personal hell. Others were kind of like Sam Pittman, asymptomatic. So, yeah. Azazian on absurdity. How you doing, Azazian? Hope you're doing well. He says, Jalen Catalon, the devil in the wide receiver's ear. Yeah. Even if Sam Pittman has a true case of COVID, we're in good hands with Odom as the interim. Yep, Odom's going to be your guy. Look at that. We're already doing, okay, show's over. Let's wrap it up. I'm kidding. Oh, Lord. Ty, who do you think would win in a fight, Catalon or Mike Tyson? Jalen Catalon or Mike Tyson? Have you seen Mike Tyson lately? That dude, how old is Mike Tyson? He's in his late 50s, right? He could whoop my ass. Now, Jalen Catalon, younger, obviously in way better shape, pretty built dude, but no, I'd take Tyson. Catalon's the man. Don't get me wrong. Cadillac Catalon. Try saying that 3 times fast. I had it 3 months ago. Besides a positive test, nothing, not even a fever. Again, I've known people that had it personally, tested positive, and they were in a world of hurt. And it does affect people differently. That is correct. The older I get, the crazier this world gets. And you're not wrong about that. How's your day, Ty? Well, crazy hog, not too bad. Not too bad. I imagine it's a false positive, which very well could be the case because he was around an awful lot of people, hugging people in the post game, hugging Tennessee players. obviously he's around his guys. You know he's hugging his kids. He's hugging his guys, right? And as far as I know, and I think what the team released today was that he was the only one that tested positive. So, yeah, it very well could be a false positive. Mark Douglas, the love Tennessee players gave towards Coach Pittman after the game shows how we need coaches to be able to meet face-to-face and in-home visits for recruits. Mark, you and I are on the same page, man. I've been saying this since they first announced the lockdowns, not allowing coaches to take part in these in-home visits and not allowing visitors or any official visits, which is so ridiculous. If you want to ask me how they've handled COVID-19 with the mandatory lockdowns, that's an entirely different show and an entirely different tie. Not going there, but I think some of you know my opinion on that. I do believe, you know what, wear a mask. I've been saying that for months here. Wear a mask. You know, I guess Germ-X, I do it anyways. I'm borderline like a germaphobe anyways. Like, I Lysol the toilet down, right? You know, like I'm the kind of guy that when I wash my hands in the bathroom, which you should always do after you use a public bathroom, I use my elbows to, like, you know, just kind of – it's getting worse with age. But I believe in that stuff, right? Like, just try to do your best to whatever. Wear a mask and do what you got to do. Take care of you and yours. For anyone who does test positive, obviously you need to quarantine. But telling people that you have to wear a mask when you're socially distanced, like trying to make it mandatory, I don't drop F-bombs here because I try my best to keep it like PG-13 because there's some swearing in PG-13 movies. But to tell people that you're in the middle of a park and there's no one within 50 feet of you but you have to wear a mask, yeah, you can kiss my ass. That's not happening, bro. Not happening. I'm socially distanced. I'm a danger to no one. I'm not – the only person at risk of anything is me, I don't know, falling and tripping. Actually, you know what? For a big guy, I'm pretty nimble. My wife, on the other hand, she's, you know, much smaller, more petite, and she's clumsy as all get out. And I think both my kids have her sense of balance. But I could go on about how they've handled COVID-19. We won't go there. I'm not going there. Zoolander, what a great movie! Yes, you got it. Celtics for life. I've got the black lung pop. But anyways, going back to what Mark said, that's it. Like that's all that needs to be said. Mark Douglas, I mean, you just echoed what I've been saying here for months. That is a huge disadvantage for Sam Pittman. Could you imagine right now the kind of recruiting that could be going on right now if you didn't have this BS, you know, coaches not being able to go into the homes. Obviously, right now you wouldn't be able to anyways, and Sam Pittman has COVID and he wouldn't be able to. Those are the precautions you take, right? But not allowing them, like if you take proper precautions – for the coach, you could implement a system where like you've got to take your temperature and you have to test within 12 hours, within 24 hours, or you have to have a test back within the 24-hour time period before you go on an official visit. You know, or for anybody, for that player, if he's going to come onto campus, for him to have to go through the proper protocols, you could do that. The NCAA can absolutely enforce something like that. Oh, look, Sam, you have COVID. You can't go. All right, well, I'll send an assistant. He's got to go through the same thing anyways. You make anybody who goes on, because they have a certain set of people who go on these visits, you know, Kendall Briles, if it's an offensive player or whatever the position is, they'll send that player or that coach or that assistant or whoever. You know, Chad Morris used to – say what you want about Chad, but, I mean, come on. Recruiting, yeah, okay, he did pretty good. He would assign coaches to certain states. So you use the proper protocols. I don't know why they can't do that. They could think up something besides telling these coaches, you know what? Nope, sorry, screw you. You can't do anything, and it's a massive disadvantage for new coaches and new programs, and for guys like Sam Pittman. You know, he's not hip like Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin's hip, man. I mean, he's younger than Sam is, and you watch him on social media. He's quite the treat. I went further down that than I wanted to. The love, I already read that, but let me scroll down. Keep an eye out for Cameron Ball. Yeah, that's the other player that's expected to commit. He's moved his commitment date like twice now, right? Jenna Moody. Ty, have any of the players been quarantined due to the boss man catching the Rona? As far as I know, no. Again, Sam Pittman was the only one. I don't know how they do that. I don't know if everyone, when they come back, they immediately take a test. I think that's how they do it, and then they get the results back on Sunday. Now, I reached out to somebody who said that Sam had been quarantining since Sunday, but I don't know. That was not a media source. That's just someone who, I guess, heard Sam say that or had talked to the media or something. So I don't know. Again, take that with a grain of salt. Don't quote me on any of that. But regardless, even if it starts today, then he's obviously going to have to sit out for Florida. So, yeah, I don't know if anybody else has tested positive. Positive right now, mild symptoms, just can't smell anything or taste. It's really weird. Why does everyone look at the death rate? I just don't want to get sick. I'm pretty sure I had it in February. I was sick as hell for about a week, but slept through my lunch and planning for the next month, and several of my kids had respiratory issues that month. Yeah. You are hilarious. What did I say? Mike, sometimes I'm funny without even trying to be funny. I'm sorry. I'm also offensive, I've been told. I'm supposed to care. I have hand sanitizer hanging around my neck. Yeah. Like I said, I wash my hands in and out of the bathroom no matter what I'm doing. Just a little TMI for you. Just a little bit if you were curious. Germex, we have wipes in the house. But, we're homeschooling this year, and we're not out and about as much. I'll tell you the one thing that is interesting. People are still recognizing me even with my mask on. And I'm not hard to miss. I mean, I'm a big guy. I get it. But, like, at the beginning, nobody, like, I was wearing I had the Hog Talk mask that we had made. And nobody would say anything. No one ever caught me. We went to all of our kids' baseball games, their t-ball and softball games. No one ever. That's it's nice, to be able to go out and someone not be like, oh my God, hey Ty, what's up? Love the show. By the way, you were wrong about this, and this. I'm just kidding. That's never happened. But it's weird because there was a period of time where people were recognizing me. I'm like, I've got a mask on. I've got an even bigger mask on. It's like a T-Mobile mask that we got because we bought new phones a little while back. So they're bigger, and I'm like, no one will definitely know who I am with these on. And, yeah, it's odd. Catalon is future first-round pick. I've said it. It says Arkansas is better than you think. I'm not going that far. I've done that before. I'm not going that far. Hey, Ty. I is late, but here. Okay. All right. Thanks for being here. I appreciate that, Bamsey. I'm never wearing a mask. I don't care. Okay. You do you, Fish. Ty says he's wiry. Who's wiry? Ty, you either confirm or deny that you are in fact Blake Kern. I used to be told that I looked like Travis. Was it Travis Swanson was my double? Maybe when I was like younger and slimmer, a little bit slimmer, I could see it. But I have friends that like they would say that's your double. And ironically, he played offensive line here, like I did in high school, and we look alike. We have the same hair. I don't know. I could see it, but not really. Not really. SEC won't let Sam Pittman do the Saban trick. They're full of hog hatred. So we'll see. You got to test 3 times, I believe, negative. You have to have 3 negatives. So I swear I had these symptoms in December. God only knows, man, if what you had. There was a back in June. I thought I had it, I thought I had it for sure, and I was just covered in sweat laying in bed, and then my throat was hurting, but I could still smell and taste things. So that's when I was like, okay, I know it affects people differently, but but no, I am not Blake Kern. How about Blake Kern catching it in the end zone, though, man? We gave him a lot of hell for dropping that ball in the end zone against the week before. Was it A&M? When did he drop that ball, or was it Ole Miss? When he dropped an easy catch in the end zone. Cameron Ball's February 5th. Okay, at least what Otis said. If Otis said it, then okay. I trust Otis. We will make a bowl game. So the minimum win requirements are wiped. They're wiped. The way I understand it is the bowls are going to actually select the teams. And ESPN still has us in the Texas Bowl. I think it's Schley-Ball and the other guy. I forget the other guy's name. He's got like an Italian last name. But they like Arkansas in the Texas Bowl. They've made that. I mean, this has got to be like the third time in their bowl projections that they've had Arkansas going to the Texas Bowl. And look, bring on Texas or Oklahoma. I'm back and forth because I've said I would rather play Oklahoma because we've played Texas, but at the same time, whooping that Texas ass in a bowl game in their own state, in their own backyard. I'm all about that life. Anytime you can take on Texas, so you get the opportunity to play Texas, all right, actually maybe I am. Maybe I do want to play them more than I want to play Oklahoma. But there's such a deep hatred for Oklahoma up here in northwest Arkansas and down the River Valley. Fort Smith, man, I've heard stories about the fights, the bar fights, and just anywhere in northwest Arkansas and in the River Valley. They're just, for whatever reason. And it's the same with Missouri, too. You've got a lot of Missouri fans, especially up towards Bentonville, around Fayetteville. You got a lot of Mizzou fans around here. Okay, Cameron Ball, February 5th. Well, he pushed it way back, didn't he? So they test all players on Sunday and get the results on Monday. I thought they tested. So do they test the coaches on? Because I know people. Look, when I got tested, I found out an hour and a half later. I found out same day. So I guess Sammy's came back Monday then. It's a good thing we have Barry Odom as an interim. Yep, we talked about that. Ty, I know your secret, but I won't tell Blake Kern. I'm honestly not a person who's crazy about being safe. I think it's because I barely get sick. I don't get sick either. I don't know. I've just always kind of been like, ooh, gross. I better Zermax. I don't want germs on me. I mean, but then again, not really. That's why I say I'm borderline. I'm like a borderline germaphobe. I was referring to your being nimble comment. I'm pretty nimble for a big fella. We were in Vegas, really quick, tell you a quick story. We were in Vegas back in 2016. We drove our asses there. My wife and I, and then another couple in this little tiny car. You can imagine my big ass all cramped up in the back of this car. So anyways, we're in Vegas, and it's our last night there off the Strip. And I forgot what casino we were outside of. But there's this part of the pavement where it dips down and you don't see it. And me and this other dude are kind of walking. He's walking parallel. We're heading towards the door. And I trip, and it could have been ugly. Had I not, it was beautiful. It was terrifying for half a second in my head. I'm like, I'm going to die. I'm about to break my neck. I'm getting older. Of course, this was 4 years ago. I thought for sure that was not going to be a smooth landing. And ladies and gentlemen, I picked it up because I've got good feet. Sweet feet is what they call me. No, they don't call me that, but it's pretty nimble. And the guy walking parallel looked at me and he goes, I've never seen that look like someone working the sidelines, like a ball getting thrown down the sidelines trying to catch the ball. I think he said that looked like someone trying to catch a ball out of bounds. That was his words. And I said, hand to God, I played center in high school, man. And he said, no way. You've got sweet feet. No, but really, it was pretty crazy. And even my wife, of course, she's embarrassed at this point. You know me, I'm all flamboyant about it. Hey, as somebody called me in chat one time, said that was flamboyant. I don't even, really? Not Texas Bowl, ooh, no. Why not? I mean, even at 5-5, like that's if you manage to win 2 more games, what's wrong with the Texas Bowl? What's wrong with playing Texas or Oklahoma? I don't have a problem with that. Bring it on. I mean, is the Liberty Bowl any better? Like, look, you might be turning enough heads to where you get picked up at a big time bowl game. I don't know, but I'm all for the Texas Bowl. I don't want the Liberty Bowl. I don't know. Who would you play in the Liberty Bowl? Who is that? SEC and who? Is that Big Ten opponent? I forget. It's Big 12, isn't it? They switch them out every 3 or 4 years too. I think if Pittman isn't there, it'll give the team some extra motivation to beat them for Pittman. Well, it helps that you have Barry Odom as your interim, right? Never turn down a chance to beat Texas. I agree, Michael. I agree. Mr. T-Dub, who did have Rona. I had Rona. It was a beast, 105-degree fever, and went to the hospital. I never lost smell or taste. See, it affects everyone differently. But a massive headache for 2 weeks, fever, chills, and hard to breathe. I've lost a few friends to it. Yeah, I absolutely believe it's real. I believe it's real. I'm not one of these, it's fake news. No, I think it's real. I know, he's known friends. I've had friends that have had it. It's affected them all differently. Remember, Ty, Texas is back. We're back. No, you're not. We better be projected to beat LSU with Miles Brennan out for the rest of the season. We'll see. I want to play Oklahoma since we are cross states. Yeah, Oklahoma's an interesting matchup because of that hatred. Like, the rest of the state, I don't think get it. I really don't. Like, people in Central Arkansas, down the Delta, up in Northeast, I don't think they understand how much hatred there is for Oklahoma in the River Valley, down where our one of our co-hosts, Porter, where he lives, down in Ozark, just north of there, all around him. Up here, there's a deep hatred for Oklahoma around here. There just is. I can't explain it. I don't know if it's I mean, I've known a lot of OU fans, and there's like any fan base, you get your good and your bad, but do they think they're God's gift to the earth for college athletics, not just football? Yes, they do, and it's very obnoxious. But not like Arkansas fans. Look, drunk Arkansas fans on Dixon Street. I get it. That's got to be rough for away fans, for outsiders. It's got to be tough, man. How do you feel about the chances of getting the game moved to Fayetteville? So they do have a hurricane. I forgot the name. They do have a hurricane heading towards Florida this weekend. I think it's projected to hit game day. I don't think it'll happen. Now, they owe Arkansas a home game because of the realignment. The years between the realignments, they played Florida back-to-back in Florida. I don't know if you guys remember that or not. But that game got kind of switched around on us, and we lost that. Should have been at home. They owe us. They should play in Fayetteville. They should anyways. You give us Florida and Georgia on this stupid-ass schedule, this 10-game bullshit schedule, and it's worked in their favor. At least it did for Arkansas and Georgia. Bring the Gators up here. Did you hear how loud that crowd was? I don't know how many were there. I don't know what the official number was. I want to say it was like north of 20,000. It sounded like 50, 60,000 people in that stadium. Now, I don't know if they had crowd noises playing over the speakers or not. I didn't think to ask anybody this weekend, but it sure sounded like it. That was if they didn't have the crowd boosting through the speakers, pumping through the speakers, I could have sworn there had to be, like, just hearing it, like, over the radio, it sounded like 50,000 people, maybe more. It was loud. So that's pretty damn impressive if they didn't have the crowd over the speakers. I got nothing but hate for all the old SEC teams but my Hogs. ESPN right now says LSU 65%. Hurricane Tyler says Arky 56. In Russellville, it's always been Texas that we hate. Goes way back. Well, yeah, I mean, sure, everyone knows the hatred, but I don't think the rest of the state gets. Arky 56 is in chat. Arky, tell them how much you hate Oklahoma, and tell them why. They're everywhere in Northwest Arkansas. They're in the River Valley. I'm telling you, they're some of the most obnoxious fans you'll ever meet, and like they're bad on social media. A good friend of mine is an OU fan. He graduated from the University of Arkansas recently. He's a good dude. And he, in all honesty, is pretty quiet when it comes to talking about Arkansas and Oklahoma. And we're actually in a group chat together. We've been in a group chat, with the same group chat with me and a few of my other friends for like 10 years. It's been a long time. He's chill. Like he's one of the good ones, as they would say about Oklahoma fans. His brother's a diehard Oklahoma fan. He's a pretty cool guy. Like, honestly, they're okay, but like they're the exception. A lot of Oklahoma fans, they're just obnoxious, and I get it. Maybe Arkansas fans would be that way too if they had that kind of success like Oklahoma has had. You cannot deny how successful Oklahoma has been in football. You can't deny it. Okay, have they won a national championship? Like, you would think they were Alabama by the way some of them act, but they have been better. They're just obnoxious, man. And Mizzou fans are pretty bad, but they're not as loud. I mean, why would they? Although they've had Arkansas's number. SEC hates if their powerhouse schools lose. That's why they can't move the game back to Fayetteville, because last time Florida came here, they got a huge butt whooping. They sure did. Howdy, Ty. All is well with all the Hog fans up here. Where are you, Scott? You've told me before. You're not in. Are you in Alaska? I know I've got one or two of you guys that are in Alaska. What's the atmosphere like up there around you with the Hogs? Newfound success, man. Scott. Someone said this on Twitter, and I couldn't have said it better myself. It's no longer a surprise when the Razorbacks win. I think it was John Neighbors actually said that on Twitter. It's no longer a surprise. And we're just elated. With this news of Sam Pittman getting sick, like, that's a bummer. But you still, you know what? Barry Odom's going to step up. It's, it's a lot of hype around here, and it's fun. It's fun because, too, looking at the rest of the schedule, there's some wins left. There's wins left on this schedule, and not only that, you might actually be competitive. There's an opportunity there to be competitive, not saying you're going to win, but to be competitive against the Florida Gators. I think there's a shot there, especially if their tight end is out. They probably still win by double digits, but you could be competitive. I think that's all Hog fans want. And then I think they have 2 more wins left on their schedule with LSU and Mizzou. I think that opinion could change by the time those games come around. I've said for a while, a little while back that I did not expect Arkansas to win this weekend. Still don't. But you don't have arguably one of the best offensive players in college football playing next weekend for Florida, who's been a big part of their success. I'm just saying. Now, they do. Their receivers are talented. You definitely can't deny that. What'd you think about Notre Dame rushing the field? I could understand that if that were Arkansas, but you're Notre Dame. Like, act like you've been there. You've had some success. You've had some recent success. You're ranked quite often, and sometimes there's been several years where you probably shouldn't have been, or at least not ranked as high. Act like you've been there. If that were Arkansas, Ole Miss, Tennessee, I would understand that entirely. But Notre Dame, Liberty Bowl against Hoosiers, is that one of the projections? Honduras. Oh, that's right. You're in Honduras. That's right. I know. I've got one in. I think one of you in the service in the military down in the Philippines, Honduras. Scott's in Honduras. I've got at least two people in Alaska, and then there's another place overseas. And I know we've got someone from Arizona in our chat. So it's mixed in Little Rock. Are you talking about the hatred? I'm in Northeast Arkansas. Dad used to live in Northwest Arkansas and tells me all the time about Oklahoma hate. Yeah. It's real, man. I'm betting that by the end of the year, Coach Sam Pittman will have beaten all 3 of the coaches. Yeah. I think that's true. Jenna Moody says we want to win. Let's get let's see what else we have on the docket here. Okay. Jalen Catalon, redshirt freshman, 12 tackles. He got a pick. I swear I thought he was in on a tackle for loss, but I did not see that on the ESPN stat sheet. Your SEC Defensive Player of the Week. Jalen Catalon, ladies and gentlemen. I can't believe I had to explain it in the community section. If you look, there's a community section, and there's some posts over there, and people were like, I forgot how I worded it, but I said, when's the last time we had a freshman have this kind of an impact on the Arkansas defense? And people were like, oh, like last week or 2 weeks ago. No, I meant total. Like so far an entire season. When's the last time you had a redshirt or even true freshman? Doesn't matter. I know he's a redshirt. When's the last time a freshman had that big of an impact? I mean, you think about all the other guys highly recruited. You remember Darius Philon, who had the Alabama offer, and on signing day, Nick Saban kind of left him at the altar, and then he ended up like he had a lot of oomph behind him, right? He didn't have stars necessarily, but he had some hype behind him because Alabama wanted him. Didn't exactly break out like this, not like this his freshman year. You go back to Sosa Agim. You think back to all the big time prospects coming in, even just their first year. Like you look at the JUCO guys that were highly touted coming out of JUCO. Rudell Krim was one. I think he was actually a 4-star, if I remember right, coming out of JUCO. And it took him a little bit, and even still, I don't think he played at this level. Jalen Catalon is playing like a senior. Like if we're talking NCAA on PlayStation, the football franchise, the video game, his awareness would be like 99. His tackle would be like 98. His zone coverage would be, I mean, this kid would be like in the 90s. That's the level that he's playing at overall. By the way, for you boomers out there who have no idea what I'm talking about, it's insanely high to have a freshman, redshirt or not, to be rated anything higher than like 78 overall, right? You go 1 to 99. He'd be in the 90s. That's the kind of year he's having. I'm not going to lie to you. Booted up NCAA 14. Yes, I did. I know I have a hatred for that game. I went back and I'm adjusting. I downloaded a community roster. First thing I did was I bumped Jalen Catalon up quite a bit. I don't remember what to exactly. I bumped up Bumper Pool. I bumped up Morgan. Obviously, they had Felipe Franks like 82 overall. Had to bump him up. I cannot remember the last time I was actually excited about downloading an updated community roster on NCAA 14. You know, and someone asked, I think it was Scott Painter who asked, how's it feel around Northwest Arkansas or around the state? That's the excitement level that we're at. Like I'm actually playing a game that I absolutely despise, just to bring back some old feelings. I can't believe the level he's playing at. It's the 4th time this year Arkansas has had someone win that award. That's incredible on the defensive side of the ball. That's incredible. I don't know what to say anymore. It's just the change on defense has been legit. It's been legit. I hope it turns out the same as Saban when he tested positive. So I think you have to have 3. I think he's got to take, I think it's 2 more tests or 3 more tests. If he tests positive even just once, then I think he has to sit it out. Let's see. I believe we'll pick off Trask at least 3 times this Saturday, says Azazian. Arkansas is better than you think, says, all I want to do against Florida is cover the spread. For that to happen, we need our offense to do well. Our defense won't stop one of the best offenses in the country every time, even with Pitts out. And that's true. Even with Pitts out, they're still really good on offense. I agree. I feel bad for Kansas. I don't think there's anybody that can save that football program. Look, Les Miles is just an anomaly anyways, right? I was kind of surprised they hired him, and it's not looking the greatest. Alex Collins made the last impact, I believe. Now, that's on offense. I'm talking about on defense, but you're right. Alex Collins came in and was a beast his freshman year. Get dehydrated doing these. You guys wonder why I'm always drinking something. Right there you go. Get dehydrated. Pittman will test for COVID-19? Yeah, at least 2 more times. Cough, Notre Dame, 2012. Arkansas is better than you think, says we need a new NCAA football game. And I have no idea why EA won't do – well, courts, because the whole ordeal with O'Bannon That whole, or just Google it. That's why. Like, it's not a matter of course they want to do it. It's a lot more complicated, right? Like, you can't use a player's likeliness without their permission, and players can't take money, like, according to the NCAA. Now, that's starting to change. States are changing that. California was the first, and other states are starting to change that, where athletes can take endorsement deals and things like that outside the school. But the school can't pay them, but outside parties, outside endorsements can. Opens the door for some controversy, I agree, but it's going to be a while. It's going to be a long while before you get – actually, the NCAA did rule – if I remember right, the NCAA did rule that it's on the docket to be discussed about allowing kids to actually start taking money. What year do you think the new NCAA football? Well, like I said, it's going to be a long time. It's going. I still think, even with the NCAA ruling, again, go Google this. I'm probably wrong, but even with the ruling, like, there's still a matter of individual players like signing on to want to do it. It's very messy. I'm sure EA, if it was just a clean, I've thought about this a little bit. If maybe they hand out, like, I don't know, something for the players to sign to say, yes, you can use my identity or my likeliness in your game. But again, the rule, I don't think it's officially passed in the NCAA. I think it's on the docket to be passed. And I've heard, like, 2021, I believe, is when they're going to attempt to actually put it into their ruling that they're going to allow kids to get paid. Or maybe they already passed it. I swear that seems like old news now, because there's so much has happened since then. But I do agree. I want a new NCAA football. I just hope it's not like the new Maddens, because the new Maddens are trash. They're not good. I have no desire to pick up the new Madden, even with the Rams clean jerseys. All I want is to beat Florida's ass by 4 touchdowns. That's asking a lot there, Rusher. 4 touchdowns, so no possible ref game deciding decisions at the end of the game happen. You're not wrong. I agree with you. Sosa was mild disappointment considering he was a 5-star. He was highly touted and had a very kind of career here. Just didn't work out. LSU Bama might not happen due to Rona. Yeah, there are other teams. Mississippi State called off practice today because of the coof. Watch out for the coof now. Actually, if a new NCAA football game, I don't want EA to do it. It's their license. Like, they still own the rights to the name, or to the rights to the game, I'm pretty sure. I don't want them to ruin more franchises like they already have. They have absolutely just wiped their rear ends with Madden. Like, I just cannot believe how bad the new Madden is. We all want to beat them by 4 touchdowns. We all do. I just don't think it's going to happen. Hang on. Let's pull this up. Let's go back really quick before we call it a night. What are we at here? What's our time? 43 minutes. We're doing good, actually. We got a little bit of time. Arkansas, of course, beat Tennessee 24-13. Felipe Franks, 215 yards, 3 touchdowns. Guy had, and I don't know if this is an adjusted quarterback rate or not, but he had 76.9 QBR. Traylon Smith, 9 carries, 72 yards. Of course, he had most of that on 1 carry that went 23 yards. How about that, son? Rakeem Boyd, 19 carries, 65 yards. His longest run from line of scrimmage was 7 yards. Devion Warren had a 22-yard run. 2 carries for 41 yards. Felipe Franks ran the ball 14 times, 81 yards. So my final kind of takeaway really quick on Tennessee, even though I still think Arkansas wins at least 2 more games, I don't know how many. LSU is going to give you more fits, I think, than Tennessee. Now, of course, they have some issues going on at Tennessee or at LSU. I guess Miles Brennan, I didn't know he was out for the year. That's news to me. I have not kept up with LSU news this weekend. It's just been mostly, right now. Actually, I've been writing out everything for Friday's show to prepare, for the podcast and for the Friday live show, getting ready to prep for Florida. But I was unaware about LSU's quarterback situation. So that does, if that's true, and I'm not saying whoever said that in chat isn't right, I haven't heard that yet. So I'm going to assume that what you said is true. That does change things. But You can't. I don't know that you can play 3 mostly bad quarters and have one great quarter and win those 2 games. You scored all your points in 1 quarter, which is fabulous. They came out. If there's one thing that can be said about this team is they make adjustments. They make really good second half adjustments. They just have a hard time putting the 2 quarters together. They have yet to play a complete game on both sides of the ball, and if they did, I guarantee you, Arkansas, there'd be no question about what their win-loss record would be. There's no question they would be like 4-2 for sure if they could get that going. And who knows, maybe more. Maybe they would have given A&M some more fits, some more issues. They did manage to kind of slow A&M down, but of course A&M kind of backed off the throttle a little bit in the second half. But still, Arkansas managed to get some late makeup, cover the spread points. 6-0 against the spread, by the way. That's I think that's the best in the country. 6-0. I think Coastal Carolina's like 5-1. BYU, I think, up there somewhere, but that's impressive. But I don't want to see any more of just 1 quarter getting the job done. That might work against Tennessee, but I'm starting to think that Tennessee's going to collapse. They could very well end the year with only maybe 1 more win or finish the year out at 2-8. Mizzou's probably a little bit better. I cannot believe I'm saying that. LSU's, even without Brennan, again, assuming that's true, going back to that, LSU's better. Like, everyone's better left on your schedule. So 1 great quarter to make up for 3 not-so-great quarters, and I think we could say it, bad quarters. You're not going to win those 2 more games, and you very well could be looking at 3-7 if you can't make that up. They've got to figure that out. They got to get together, and I'm not saying a full 4 quarters. That'd be nice. But I think that's asking too much from a new staff, especially with what you have going on this weekend. The odds of that happening this weekend are slim to none because Florida offensively, I think it goes without saying, really damn good. But I don't want to see any more like 3rd quarter you get it all done or 1st quarter you get it all done and then you disappear. Can't do that. You cannot do that and expect to get more wins. That's going to be tough to do. That's a lot of makeup. Quarters you gotta have. EA has ruined Madden, Star Wars, and destroyed more companies that actually made those franchises interesting. Mass Effect is a good example. I don't know how big of a nerd some of you guys are in chat. Mass Effect, which, by the way, is getting remastered and coming out early next year. I'm really psyched for that. I am a Mass Effect nerd. I love that game a lot, and I'm really excited about that. Andromeda was terrible. Mass Effect Andromeda was awful. Listen, Star Wars Squadrons, I have it. It's actually kind of fun. And I had a friend of mine let me borrow a VR headset. Guys, I'm just saying, that's like one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. 7-year-old Tyler is flipping out when I've got the VR on and I'm flying an X-Wing. And the graphics are gorgeous on the PS4 Pro with the VR. It's insane. The spread is at 17. Yeah, so we'll get into the Florida breakdown on Friday. Obviously, the Hog Talk podcast, we'll get all that done for you. We'll get you caught up there. So, are we taking the jukeboxes to Florida? Are we taking the jukebox to Florida? I hope they do. Darren and Darius Winston, Sosa, only ones I can remember. Darius Winston was a 5-star corner and had a hard time even making the 2-deep the whole time he was here. Wasn't injuries. I mean, I think later on at his time as a Razorback defensive back, he had some issues with injuries. But out the gate. Like the last freshman, I think Alex Collins is I think Alex Collins, if you want to talk about both sides of the ball, yeah, I would go with Alex Collins probably. Easy with that boomer shit. My kids call me that. I'm a Gen X. Hey, man, I'm not – I don't know how old you are, but I'm 37. I probably qualify as a boomer. Because I like TikTok. It's just I can't get into it. I try. I just have no interest. I have no interest to get on TikTok. My wife's always like sending me TikToks. I'm like, yeah, okay. And she'll show me, oh, look at this. It's so funny. And it's someone trying to crack a joke. It's just not, I don't know. I've got friends that just are obsessed with it. Not interested. Ty, I know it's early, but what is your thought on the Hogs beating Mizzou? That is down the road. They should. They just should. I think they're better. They're a more complete team. They're playing better on defense. Way, way better on defense. Arkansas, that is, than I thought they would. Even coming into the year, they were one of the two teams that I thought Arkansas would beat. I thought they would split the Mississippi schools, and then beat Mizzou. I've said that since day one, and I still feel that way. I feel pretty comfortable. I'll say that. I feel comfortable. How about that? What's on the jukebox playlist, Ty? Well, if you had to know, it just depends on what kind of mood I'm in. Like, I have a classic rock list. It's like Boston, Queen, Creedence Clearwater Revival. I'm a big Led Zeppelin. I'm a huge Led Zeppelin fan. I've argued that my first tat, if I ever get one, it's probably going to be a Led Zeppelin tat. I'm that. Yeah, I'm white. What can I say? Like that kind of classic rock, you know. I love Jimi Hendrix, Rolling Stones. I mean, I'm like 60 inside a 37-year-old body. But then, like, I have a very wide taste in music too. I do like rap, hip hop. There's some R&B. Not as much on the R&B. Newer music, Slipknot, Korn, Deftones, Chevelle, stuff like that. That would be on my complete list. By the way, Deftones, if there's any Deftones fans, their newest album is awesome. Chevelle's got a new album coming out next year. I'm really pumped for that. System of a Down released 2 songs, and they're garbage. I tried listening to System on Apple Music, and I'm like, dude, this sucks. It's just like, I'm gonna fire. And what did I do? I fired up Toxicity. That's what I did. LSU has only won 2 games. LSU is still offensively more potent. I just think Tennessee's on the down. I just think they're going to be lucky to win another game. That's just where I'm at with them, guys. I do not think, like I said, I think LSU is a bigger threat than Tennessee. I'm not saying LSU's great, but yeah, they're 2-3, and right now LSU is favored 61% according to ESPN Football Power Index. We'll just have to wait and see. You know, they're averaging 35, 36 points a game. That's several points above the average on offense. Arkansas's at 24.5, but they're giving up about 34 points a game. They're allowing almost 480 yards a game. They're just not a complete team. LSU is garbage, but are they capable? If Miles Brennan is out, God only knows. Like I don't know. I would probably pick Arkansas with Brennan. I don't know. We'll have to get to that week. We're not there yet. We'll just have to wait. You know, I like to kind of take my time, do one game at a time, and I'll have a fresh new take for you on when game week comes. That might be a tough game to predict. I don't know. Because you can't forget LSU has, even if they don't have a great team, even if they had kind of they had a mass exodus on both sides of the ball, they still replace it with 4- and 5-star talent. But, you know, guys that are put into situations where they probably didn't expect to play this year, right? You had guys that probably still need a couple more years to develop, or maybe another year to develop. They're not dealing with the newness, right, that Sam Pittman and Arkansas had to deal with. They didn't have, like, sure, losing their passing coordinator and all those players, that's a huge impact, obviously, that's killing them. They had four players opt out for the year for COVID, and of course I think all 4 of them are going to apply for the draft. But there's a reason why they're favored, because talent-wise, they are better, and they're putting up points. They are getting it done on paper on the offensive side of the ball. But they're still not a very good team. So, you know, we'll have to dissect that game when we play them that week. I'm not prepared to say that that's a for sure automatic win. I still play NFL 2K5. Wow, you're dedicated, man. You're dedicated. Yeah, I agree, Tony, about OHMS and System of Down. Yeah, I agree. It's not good. Like, the 2 songs were not that good. I'm like, this sucks, man. I just fired up Toxicity. Actually, every other album, because all their albums are really good. These 2 songs are terrible. I will be in full rage mode with Kendall Briles if he cannot beat Bo Pelini. I swear to God. Bo Pelini. Oh, their defense has been something else. Mitch Mustang was a 5-star. And didn't do much or anything at all. I forgot about him. I remember the problem when I hated Gus. Yeah, you had the Springdale Five. I got to watch those guys play in person several times. Still the best high school football I've ever seen played. And I go to Fayetteville games from time to time. I want to go to a game before the end of the year. I haven't been to one yet. So yeah. Okay. Well, if you guys if you have any more questions, ask away. I'm gonna hang this thing up. We're right at 55 minutes. Boom. He was a flash in a pan. I'm telling you, watching them play in person though, Damian Williams, Andrew Norman, Ben Cleveland, Mitch Mustaine, oh my gosh. It was just like they blew everybody out. Like these guys are getting benched at halftime. I've never seen that before. They just, good grief. Holy cow. They were good. They were something special in high school. Just didn't pan out the next level for the Springdale Five. It's too bad. Ty, do you think Pittman will be there on Saturday? I don't know. Young D, if he's got to take more he could take more tests. I think he's got to take 2 or 3 more. If they all come back positive or negative, he'll be cleared. It could be a false positive. That is absolutely possible. Right now, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. They made a documentary about Mitch, yeah, and it's called The Identity Theft of Mitch Mustaine. I thought it was the boringest thing I've ever watched in my life. And, it's got Mitch Mustaine shooting guns. I think he was living in Arizona at the time. I think it wasn't long after he left USC. I want to say... It's been a while since I've watched it. It's just boring. It just wasn't that great. And they brought up some good stuff. If you're a Hawk fan, you should probably watch it. But if you're really curious about kind of what all went down, you're getting their perspective. We had Ben Cleveland on the Hawk Talk podcast a little while back, early on, like one of our first 25 shows, first 30 shows. We had him on. Go back and listen to it. Listen to what he said. It's pretty revealing. Some of the stuff that they said, just kind of their thoughts and feelings. And there was stuff that was said even when we hung up or when we stopped recording. There's still some animosity between some of those guys. And it's sad to see because you just think what could have been, what else is new, right? I'm so far away from caring about that, but back then, we were pissed. I remember, I worked for Sam's Club back then. I worked in the tire department, and everyone back there, diehard Hog fans. And I can remember us just screaming, like when we heard about it, just shaking our heads like this is what a bunch of garbage. We were pissed off at Mitch. We were pissed off at all the kids leaving. And, they're not that much. They're like our age group, Mitch Mustaine and Damian and those guys. They're just a little bit younger than I am. They're probably like 33, 34, 35, somewhere in there. And I remember just being like, man, if I see them in person, I'm going to cuss them out, just immaturity. Looking back on it, they did what was best for them. Houston Nutt probably could have handled that a lot better. I recommend you go watch it. It's informative, gives you an idea, but it is just so, I don't know who put that documentary together, but it was just, God, it was boring. I think it felt like 3 hours, 4 hours long. But, again, it's informative. So if you really care about what happened back then or you're at least curious, I think, in all honesty, for all 6 of you that are probably interested in this, the best thing to do is have a Joe Rogan-type sit-down with Mitch Mustaine and Damian Williams. Have someone on the other end just have a conversation about what happened. And then later on you bring on Houston Nutt, right? You talk to him. Of course, he would never do it. But he didn't do the documentary. I don't think he had any interest in it at all. But I think that would be the best way to really get his – because if you watch Joe Rogan, I'm sorry, but that is the best podcast like ever. I love Joe Rogan. And he finds a way, he relates. He doesn't necessarily relate. In fact, sometimes that's the thing. He doesn't relate to the guy across, or the woman or man across the table from him, and he just kind of picks their brain a little bit. I would love for someone to do that with Damian and hell, even Gus Malzahn. One day down the road, if he's ever retired, like, hey, what happened? Because I do still, in the back of my head, I still wonder, like, what really? I have an idea talking to Ben Cleveland and watching that documentary, but I would rather someone sit down, like Joe Rogan style, in a podcast or whatever and just talk about it. Like, hey, yeah, so what all went down after the year? Like what was your feelings towards the administration? What was your thoughts and feelings towards the staff at the time? What led to that? What were you told in the recruiting process? They fired the quarterback coach that recruited him without talking to Mitch first, and that's in the documentary. Okay, I've talked about that too long. It's interesting because I think that's just Arkansas Razorback history. So much happens. When my kids are older, they might ask, and I'm probably going to talk about, with my friends, you remember Mitch Mustang? My kids are going to be like, what? What's going on? Well, tell them, let me tell you something, kiddos. Ty Mustang is the biggest bust at Arkansas, ? I would argue he's probably up there if you want to talk. Yeah, I mean, Jalen Smooth Catalon. Yeah, you're coming in at the end, Jay. We already talked about that, but it was impressive, wasn't it? Was anyone else sad that Jared Cornelius became a shell of his former self after his injury? He was good until then, yeah. Who is the biggest recruiting bust that came to Arkansas? I think Mitch would probably be up there. Mitch, Darius Winston was a 5-star. Darius never even saw the field. He struggled to even make the 2 deep. That's a good question. The biggest bust. A little while later, you remember that wideout, that 6'4" JUCO kid, Brandon Martin? Highly recruited out of JUCO. Never. I think he played 1 year. I think he made the 2 deep. Maybe caught 1 ball all year. And I hate to call these kids bust because sometimes, it's not their fault they were given all these stars, right? It's not their fault that they had all this hype. And I hate to say that because you're talking about 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. And sometimes there's a lot more going on behind the scenes that you're not aware of. I've learned that since doing the podcast, since bringing on recruits, or talking to, when Jacob and I used to do the interviews. I don't do the interviews anymore. But back then, talking to the interviews, talking to we had Travis Swanson, Chandler Morris. We had Chandler on, Chad's son, not long after he committed to Arkansas. Talking to them, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than fans realize. And it's easy to say, oh, that kid was a bust. Sometimes it's adapting to college life that they don't like, and I kind of wonder if that's what happened to Darius Winston. These kids leaving home for the first time, some of them just don't. You remember Funderburk? You remember him? I think he was 6'3", he was a 3-star, but highly recruited, had a lot of offers. He got homesick. Not long ago, the receiver last year, kid that went back to Texas, got homesick. TQ, I swear, these kids, once they leave, I have a hard time remembering their names. But there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes, and sometimes they get on campus. Also, you have the situation where you change philosophies on offensive, defensive side of the ball. You're not, Brandon Allen is an example of that. Brandon Allen was recruited to run Bobby Petrino's system. He's meant to be a 4 or 5 wide, spread them out, kind of pro-style quarterback. And instead, they're running the I formation. Jim Chaney, who I still think is I'm sorry, that guy is not a good offense coordinator, as you could see last weekend. There's so many variables in the equation of a recruit. Talk to Trey Biddy about it. Ask him if you're on those message boards or in his walk and talks, if you'll ever acknowledge chat, if he'll ever actually read his chat and talk to his chat in his community, I'd love to get him in our Discord, or him or Danny West or any of those guys. Talk to people who've worked in that. Talk to Otis Kirk. I talk to Otis every once in a while in the DMs. It's a different world behind the scenes than fans realize. There's a lot that goes into it when these kids get on campus. And sometimes they get homesick. They just don't fit into the system. They don't respond well to the coach. And then sometimes, they're just overrated. They went to a camp. They did really well. They got an extra star next to their name, and they never live up to it. That is also true. But it's not – I don't think it's ever always just one thing. Did anyone notice that K. Rich caught the ball in the fourth quarter? I did not. Hands down the best podcast. Whose podcast? Who is the biggest recruiting bust that came down? Oh, I already read that. My bad. I learned about Mustaine from my dad. Yeah, I went and saw him play, him and all those guys. Exciting. Just, yeah. And you could argue probably overrated. Probably just took advantage of having a really good coach. At the time, Gus Malzahn was the king of high school football in the state of Arkansas. I learned about Mitch Mustaine during the coaching search with Pittman. I asked a question about the animosity with Gus, and someone recommended me the documentary. It explains some things, yeah. How much of a chance do you think we have to get an upset this weekend? I don't know. I started breakdown yesterday. I started watching film yesterday. I watched a highlight, a 15-minute long highlight video. I want to watch the full game, but that's always hard for me to do. I'll tell you right now, it's slim. It's extremely slim. If that star tight end is good to go, and again, we're going to do the breakdown on Friday, and hopefully we have more information on Florida by Friday. If he's good to go, Arkansas could lose by a lot. Florida is legit on offense. You know, from what I see, they are pretty balanced on offense, but they throw the ball a lot. Something they do on defense, I noticed this against A&M, and I watched some other games. They do give up big plays on defense. They've given up at least a 20-yard play every single game so far this year. They just look not good on defense, and that should go without saying. I know. All right. We're at an hour 6. TQ Jackson. Yeah, it's just brain fart in my head. Kyle Pitts is definitely a boss. He's the best. He might be the best offensive weapon in college football. He might very well be. He's got 8 touchdowns through the year. Remember, they had their LSU game got canceled. It's postponed until sometime in December, I guess. So, I mean, he leads them in receiving yards, I'm pretty sure, and touchdowns. 8 touchdowns through 5 games. I mean, for a tight end, that's unheard of. That's incredible. So, yeah. Okay. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. This one, we kind of went on all sorts of different places. Pittman with the coof. Tested positive for COVID. We'll see. Like I said, I think he's got to take 2 or 3 more tests before he can get cleared, assuming he had a false positive. That is very possible that he had a false positive. He is asymptomatic. He feels fine. That's the good news. Hopefully that's the case, that he tested that it was a false positive and he's able to go down there. If not, Barry Odom will be your interim coach. I'm excited for the game. I'm just walking into this. I think we all feel like we all know what's about to happen. Florida is a very good football team. They did lose to A&M. That is their sole loss. So, yeah. All right. I think that's really it. I don't think there's anything else. Let me pull up. Yeah, I've already got stats written down. I've already got part of my script written out for Friday for Florida. I mean, just to give those of you who are still here, give you a little tidbit. They average 369 passing yards per game. That's 5th best in the country, and that's with the game being postponed. 126 yards rushing, which is about 95th. 42 points per game. 12th in the country, 29 points allowed, 60th in the country. Arkansas, I think the FPI, what did I say it was? Or was that LSU? Hang on, let me look. Is it still at 90%? It was at 90. Did it move? No. Oh, it went, holy cow. Oh, it didn't. Okay, it's the same. All right. I'm dyslexic, I swear to God. I thought it went down, but it did not. It's still at 90%. So, yeah, Arkansas has less than a 10% chance, according to the ESPN Football Power Index. Yeah, Florida's impressive, you guys. They are very impressive on offense. Okay, thanks a lot. We'll see you on Friday. Remember, Hawk Talk Podcast, latest episode is available down below in the description box if you want to go check it out. If you want to join the Patreon, you guys, I'd appreciate it. If you want to be a part of that, it's a minimum of $4 a month. If you want to do more, you can. That is an option. If you don't want to be a part of a monthly thing, there is a PayPal provided for you down below. If you want to throw some money in the tip jar, all that money goes towards me. Is who it goes towards. Goes towards me, okay? But I use it for the channel also. So, okay, yeah, I'll see you again later on in the week. We will have so we've got the Monday Hog Talk and the Friday Hog Talk will be available at 6 a.m. on Friday, assuming all goes according to plan. Goes according to plan. I'm getting tired and hungry. I need to go eat and get ready for Assassin's Creed Valhalla tonight. How many fellow Assassin's Creed fans in the house? I'm excited for that one. That's tonight, 11 o'clock, if you have it pre-ordered. It's going to be awesome. I'm really excited for it. It's already getting really good reviews. So, yeah, remember to like the video. I'd appreciate that, and share the content. We'll see you guys on Friday. Woo, pig suey. Behave yourselves now, or don't.